I'm trying to clear my head now from trying to drain the garbage that is Wonder Woman 1 and a sequel to Wonder Woman's Gal Gadot movie trailer. Because I'm trying to drain the anger out of me. So I need to reset, focus my brain on something else completely good that's actually good quality art. With good storytelling, likable characters that are relatable and get fleshed out. This is my review on Doctor Strange the Sorcerer Supreme from release in 2007. The animated film is the best Doctor Strange adaptation we are going to get ever, probably. So, what's the story about? Well, this doctor who's kind of a selfish prick doesn't really help those who need, who are good chances are going to die. But he also won't help the specific hospital help these people stop having night terrors, and for some reason they can't figure out why all these children are having the same nightmares. And he says he can't help because after he saw a vision of what they see, he said there's nothing he can do. He doesn't because he really thinks he can not help it. The people, not because he's freaking himself, because he really is afraid to help because of those who need have serious help, or be psychological or physical. Not because he's just a jerk, although he's this is a scare capper. So it doesn't come across he's just a jerk. It comes across he's actually concerned about failing to help those in serious need. So, anyway, he gets into a car accident, and this car accident happens after he sees the Sorcerer Supreme's cult find these demons. So he breaks his hands, both of them, and all of the nerves and things are damaged. He can't move his hands anymore, so he goes to try several things. He uses all of his money, ends up broke, and then he tries to commit suicide, and then this person stops him from doing it, tries to talk some sense him and gives him hope. So he goes to the mountains, this special place in the mountains where he runs into where he missed the ancient one and his cult, and he joins it. And his step into joining the cult and step of getting better, getting his hands better. Later realize it's not about his hands, it's about his soul to heal, not the hands. It's about healing his soul, not his hands. So. Basically, he's keeps on he needs to make this a brick wall every day, and keeps on redoing himself every day, and back because he's not tackling the real psychological issue of his mind, which is he's not tackling the trauma which made him greedy, also / coward / isolated from everyone else. And you feel so sympathy for him because this film actually makes you humanize Doctor Strange the way that 2016 failed and the 70s version failed. Those films are just fun, dumb action films. I don't hate them, but they don't feel human. You can't relate to Doctor Strange, and you can't sympathize with him because they give you no reasons to, other than he's a main character, blah, blah, blah. So, the last thing is Ben the character Bash did a good job playing Doctor Strange, but he never. It was the very much beyond amateurs, but the film was fun enough to watch, Mil Joseph's Resident Evil film. So I guess he gets a pass. But it's not good. It's not fun. It's not rich fun that's unique. It feels unique. It's not great, like Joker or basically any well-written movie that I've seen like this one. From 2007 called Doctor Strange the Sorcerer Supreme, that's the full title. This was released straight to home video in 2007, so that's probably another one that, yeah, so not enough people saw it. I feel like this is a forgotten gem, and I'm promoting this by telling you to go watch it, okay? So what is Doctor Strange's pain is, and what his psychological pain is, and what he's not dealing with is his trauma. Because he blamed himself for the death of his sister, who died of cancer in her brain. And no doctor would ever treat her. So he just says, wait a few years, I'm going to be a doctor, and I'll treat you. And he would remove the tumor, the cancer from her brain. And the operation was a fail. She died during the operation, and he has blamed himself ever since. He blames himself for his sister's death. But what he doesn't know is that he won't accept that it's not his fault. That's what the Ancient One's trying to teach him. And so he just has to say the obvious. You have to accept the fact that your sister's death was not your fault. Just because she died on a table, your table, doesn't mean she was your fault. It was your fault. She was untreatable. The Ancient One basically tells Doctor Strange, and he has trouble accepting first, but then he does accept it. He's lived in denial for so many years, and he's and angry, and he's living in denial for so many years, and he finally has reached this final stage of grief, which is acceptance. So he becomes a better man and heals his soul, which also heals his hands. So he's able to work his hands again, because he heals his soul. Because he dealt with his trauma and faced it. He faced his fear, and he realized he can't just because he's a doctor. He needs to help those in need. Well, and even if it turns out for the worst, he has to realize that that's not his fault, no matter what happens. Because try your best, because he needs to realize because that's when us the audience realize Doctor Strange deep down is a good person and a tortured soul who really wants to help those in need, but who's afraid to help those in need because he doesn't want to lose another patient like he did with his sister. So he's been only using the ones that guarantees the success. But this is when he actually goes back to his old roots and decides to try to do the impossible by becoming a sorcerer. Starting by the end of the act with his doctor skills. So Ancient One gets murdered, and there's this mole in the cult who betrays the Ancient One by Dormammu. Dormammu looks great. The design is perfect, looks very comic accurate, and it's actually intimidating. Like that shit that was in 2016 Doctor Strange. This was just laughable and cute. Doctor Strange's Dormammu in this film actually looks like Dormammu. And actually terrifying and scary and intimidating and mystery. So you can see they actually show you his design, and they show you wreak havoc on the whole force, and he's been feeding off the people's he's been sending these civilians, these children, to sleep and feeding off their fear. So they can never wake up from sleep, so he can enter our world, our realm, Earth. So he does that, but this is after Doctor Strange too late by waking every patient up, because Dormammu is strong enough, strong enough to enter the Earth, or the realm where Earth is, where Doctor Strange is, where the civilians that they are bound to protect. That the cult's bound to protect, but the mole who was working within the cult, Doctor Strange's cult, who's the Ancient One, the head of the cult, gets murdered by the mold, and it's really sad scene. The mole helps Dormammu take over the Earth, and Doctor Strange and the rest of the is now the Sorcerer Supreme, takes on the mantle of the Sorcerer Supreme. Takes the Ancient One's place. Now Doctor Strange is the Sorcerer Supreme, instead of the Ancient One being the Sorcerer Supreme. So, Doctor Strange and his rest of his call to on his side still help him out, and they try to give him one gives him advice to and breaks the power. So Doctor Strange like decides to drain all the power from Dormammu and absorb it. And his kick-ass line says, when Dormammu says, "Who are you?" He says, "I am Doctor Strange, Sorcerer Supreme," he says. And he takes all the power from Dormammu, absorbs all the power from Dormammu, and Dormammu disappears and evaporates into thin air because he beat Dormammu and he saved the world. And he communicates with his girlfriend through dream and said that he has found peace, and he realized that he was that she was right. He is still a doctor. So that's he found peace, and who he found in a peace, he says, and found cure for his hands, he said. But most of all, he found himself again through making peace with his grief. This is awesome film, and it ends with Doctor Strange closing the door of his warehouse and setting up for the sequel, which never happened, which is sad because this film kicks ass. This is easily a 10 out of 10. Even the fact that this stayed up for a sequel, it doesn't feel desperate because it feels like it tells a story about a man becoming a better person, becoming that best version of himself after his soul gets destroyed, losing that one he loves. This is my idea of a beautiful origin story. Probably the perfect origin story. This an ultimate. This and the Invisible Iron Man film. This is the best Doctor Strange film I have ever seen. In the best adaptation of Doctor Strange I've ever seen, and probably going to see in this life unless they make another animated film, they're making a sequel to the Batman Comebacks one. I don't have that faith in one because the first one wasn't that great of a film. Because the pacing was fast, ridiculously fast, too fast for his own good. And Doctor Strange didn't really have a character arc. He didn't change at all for the better. He stayed the same. This Doctor Strange from 2007 animated film has solid pacing besides all action, and great performance, especially from Doctor Strange. He is the heart and soul of the film. His performance is just giving his all. I don't remember the actor plays him, but everyone does pretty much a good job, 100% good job. Every individual person does 100% a good job to a top-notch quality. But I love Doctor Strange in this film because he is just amazing. He's such an interesting and relatable character that you can also look up to. So yeah, this gives a 10 out of 10. 2007, Doctor Strange, Sorcerer Supreme.